Uh, Today is January 3rd, 2020, Friday, and I'll be talking about my pre-elementary algebra professor for community college. So, the second week, going on to the third week of September 2019, I noticed that my pre-elementary algebra professor said to me that he has me down for the attendance. And this is like second week going into the third week. And I'm like, wait a second. I walk in late and this professor, all of a sudden, maybe a few minutes later, or at least 10 or 13, no, it had to be 10 or 13 minutes later, he called for attendance. But before 10 or 13 minutes later, there was people walking in, coming in late also in the computer lab. And he said to the class, for the people who arrive late to this class, please stand on the line so I can take the attendance. So I was the second person in line, and there was a person ahead of me. So that person got his attendance taken. So as soon as he approached me, the professor, or got to him, he said, "I already got you." He didn't need to hear my name. He didn't need to make me mention my name. He said, "I already got you," and I sat down. My professor is Asian. I'm like, this is already the second to third week. How would he even memorize my name already? My first name and my last name. That's when it shows me that his mind, right? That the professor's mind had been rebooted, right? Each time he goes to sleep, he wakes up with a mind that the multi-agent quantum AI computer designed, so he can be aware of my actions in a more precise manner, right? Every single thing I do is more concentrated on in my algebra course class. So not only that the professor was doing this, also another professor was doing this. It was my ENA and also my psychology professor. So the ENA 101 professor was taking attendance. All of a sudden, as the professor took an attendance, she said each and every single person name, right? Except for mine. I didn't hear my name. She said that I wasn't paying attention, and this is the reason why I didn't hear my name. But I had a voice recorder on in the class, and even that, well, it didn't. My voice recorder wasn't working properly, but I was trying to record it, and she never did say my name. I never heard my name. Not only that, the ENA professor was doing this, the psychology professor in the first seminar studio course had also skipped my name. So this is 3 times, right? So it shows me how the multi-agent quantum AI computers rebooted their minds about me. So near to the end of the course for algebra, for my community college course, the professor, it was the same day I got back my my test, my in-class test for the algebra, but that was after. I was sitting down, right, and I had an idea about how to do the math, every time I have an idea about doing the math correctly, the multi-agent quantum AI computers would make a person interact with me on how to solve the equation when I have an idea. Just like when I took my placement test in June 2019, and when I was concentrating on my answers, and I was almost finished with my answers, the CUNY employee approached me and asked me what number I'm on so she can distract me. One. So when I was in class and I knew how to interpret the concept, all of a sudden the professor tells me about writing down the parentheses and then also knowing the factor of what number goes into what number, right? This is the multiplication table. So he startled me and he put me on the spotlight in the class, right? So I won't be able to actually concentrate on the thought that I actually had, or my first thought I had about the equation, because the first thought that I had about the equation was correct. And he startled me. So he started mentioning to me about parentheses. I'm like, what? He just started going at it. And then he took my pen out of my hand and then he wrote the parentheses. And then afterwards, he was talking about what number goes into what number. I'm like, well, what the heck is going on with this professor? It's like someone's making him hyper towards me. So that's not the first time that the professor did this. It was the second time. And that was at least 2 months from December, 2 months before December 2019. We was doing the coordinates, being able to plug in the coordinates. So there would be a number, there would be a parentheses like 8, and a number, and there would be another number, and you had to see that one is y1, y2, x1, x2, and then you start to put down the slope formula, and then you plug it in, and then you subtract, and then you get the answer, right? I was able to interpret that, and as soon as I was able to interpret that, the professor, all of a sudden, this was in the computer lab. That was the same day he was doing the makeup test for the department exam, and he didn't let me take part in redoing my department exam because I got a 60 on it. And the reason why I got a 60 on it because there was few math concepts that he never taught us in class, and he was making us become too dependent on Lumen, right? Lumen is a website where he wanted us to do our homework in. He was too very dependent on it. That's the problem. And Mr. Wan, the professor, admitted that some of the math concepts wasn't taught in the class. That he wanted us to go on the internet to search for math concepts and learn them on YouTube and Khan Academy. That's how this professor is lacking. And then he tells me to put this here, and I already know how to do it, right? And it does the multi-agent quantum AI computers is trying to confuse me and convince me and make me admit to myself that I do not have any understanding of how to do math. Just like when I was in a studio for the first seminar of my psychology course, and I was trying to build up my website, and I had an idea how to build up my website, the staff member would start to interact with me and tell me what to do, even though I knew what to do. All right, this is the AI here. This is how it intimidates me. It wants people to. It wants to make people think that I'm incapable of doing anything at that time. So let's get back to what happened when I was in class when I got a 10 on my test. Besides the parentheses and factoring the number. So this goes with my mom, right? And this takes place a few days ago. A few days ago, no, it was last week. Last week, my mom, me and my mom was going up the stairs in an apartment, and then she wanted me to admit to myself and her out loud about that I'm just making an excuse for myself about my left testicle. Oh, you talk about pain. Oh, sorry. How long you gonna talk about it, huh? How long you gonna talk about it? Want me to say it. She wants me. She's trying to she's baiting me with a response to respond back to her question, just like my professor, Mr. Juan, right? He's baiting me to or you can say baiting me to answer his question, so I can say that I haven't done math for years, right? To show that I do not have any concern for doing any work and I wasn't serious. Okay, that matches, you call it. So I'm gonna write those down on the comments what I'm talking about on here if you didn't understand my video or my voice clearly. Okay,